March 28th brings a full super worm moon, and today I'm going to be sharing a few ideas for how you may want to honor this time. Hi, welcome to Gently Being. First, let's just discuss a few of the themes that will be around this full super moon so that you can think about what may work best for you. A supermoon is when the moon is closer to the earth. So you can imagine there's a stronger connection of the moon to our tides and to the earth, and I think also to ourselves because the moon is that much closer. This could mean that what you're feeling could be a little more intense at this time. The moon itself is going to be in the sign of Libra, while the sun sign is Aries, and some sort of consider these to be opposite signs. You have the Aries, which is very much a sign about doing, and the Libra, which is a sign that is more about focusing in on relationships and being in those relationships, reflecting on them. The Libra sign is also a lot about fairness and looking at your relationships and the world around you and seeing if things are fair or working towards fairness. So I think it is a good time to sort of bring those two things together, reflecting on your relationships and your relationship with yourself, being with that, sort of reflecting on it, but maybe tying it also with some action, especially in things that have to do with making a more fair and equitable world. One of the things you may find is that there's a lot of polarities happening within yourself or around yourself. So you may want to reflect on how can you let go of some of the things that may be holding you back, or as I said, it's a time to reflect on relationships, so maybe even letting go of some relationships or transforming them. How can we transform these relationships or transform ourselves or help transform the things around us? So these are just a few things you may want to consider when you're thinking of what you'd like to do to honor and celebrate this full super worm moon. The first thing you may want to do is just take some time to reflect even before this full moon is in place on March 28th, and consider what it is that grounds you and allows you to find some equilibrium when you have really strong emotions, because this could be a time when you do find that your emotions are really strong, and sometimes it's best to think ahead of what can help you feel a little more grounded, maybe a little more protected, and finding that equilibrium when you have all these strong emotions coming up. Perhaps you'd like to make some time during this full supermoon to do a meditation or a prayer. Part of this can be checking in on yourself, that relationship with yourself, or it can be checking in on your relationship with the divine if that's something you believe in. You may want to do a passage meditation perhaps to help just bring yourself in and focusing in on a passage that you find inspiration and wisdom from. Or perhaps you'll just like to do a simple breath meditation, checking in on yourself, and maybe it's again bringing some of that equilibrium to yourself if you're finding that the energy is really strong and your emotions are sort of all over the place. This can be something that's really useful to do to have that Libra sense of being, and then thinking of some action-oriented steps that you can take to harness some of the Aries energy that's going to be going around. This full moon is a lot about relationships, and this can do with relationships with other people in your life, be it your family, your friends, associates, work colleagues, just all those people that are in your life. But it also can be a time to focus in on your relationship with yourself. So maybe make some space during the full moon to just think about how the relationships in your life are going. I think all of our relationships have been transformed during this time of COVID, and maybe there's some people that you haven't reached out to in a while and maybe you would like to make some contact with. So you can maybe make time to have a chat with them virtually or over the phone, or again, I always really love the idea of writing a letter so that it's this beautiful surprise that arrives to them. But that's one thing you may want to consider doing, looking over your relationships and seeing who you'd like to make contact with again that maybe you haven't checked in on in a while. Also, this is a really great time to, focus in on yourself and how your relationship with yourself is going. Again, I do believe that this pandemic time is really transforming the ways we also relate to ourselves, and it's important to check in to see how everything is doing. How have things changed? And change doesn't necessarily mean it's for the negative. Maybe there's been some positive growth that's happened, and it's nice to take time to reflect and notice that as well. With the moon in Libra, this is also a wonderful time for focusing in on concepts of fairness and cooperation. So you may want to think about how you would like to aid the world in being more equitable for all. I know for myself that I'm very concerned with the rollout of the vaccine and how there have been a lot of articles mentioning that we really need to have the vaccine to be available to everyone in the world, and that right now that's not really happening because depending on the gross income of a country, they may not have as much access to the vaccine. So for myself, I've been researching a petition I can sign and how to contact my government leaders to see what they're doing to help to make a people's vaccine that is available to everyone in the world, because I truly believe that for a fair society to grow out of this pandemic, we have to first start with making treatments and the vaccine available to everyone. So for myself, I know that that's some of the energy I'm working with and what I'm focusing on, but maybe you would like to look more local at what's happening in your community and just think about how you can bring more cooperation and fairness to where you live. If you can, make sure you go outside on the evening of March 28th, or even the evening before, the evening after, to really look at that beautiful super moon that's in the sky that you can see, and just be quiet with it. Just spend some time outside with the moon in quiet, and then you can maybe say a little prayer to the moon, or send blessings to the moon, whatever's really speaking to you in that moment. But it's important that if you can, not to forget to go outside and view that beautiful moon in the sky. You may also want to find some music that really suits the energy of the worm moon. I'd like to recommend Shanna Cleveland's album, The Night of the Worm Moon. What's more perfect than an album that's named for the worm moon and it features a song entitled Night of the Worm Moon? I find it to be a really lovely, soothing album. It's still, Shanna Cleveland's best known for her work with the band Lalouse, and you still have that sort of surf rock vibe to it, but very pared down and mixed with some folk sort of vibes in the songs. And throughout the album, the lyrics sort of play with other realities, dimensions, celestial ideas. So I find it really can suit this full super worm moon that's coming. You can find the album on Bandcamp, and I'll link it down below if you'd like to just check out a couple of the songs. But again, just find the music that really works and speaks to the themes and energies of this moon. I hope this video inspired you to find a way to celebrate the full super worm moon in a way that works best for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and hit the bell so you always know when there's a new video. Thanks so much for spending time with Gently Being.